when you're ready.
Should animals be used for biomedical research? They should not. My lenses are the ethical lens and the environmental lens. The history of animal testing. So there's evidence of animals being tested on starting in 384 BC with Greek scientists such as Aristotle and Erasistratus performing experiments on live organisms. Since this time, scientists throughout time have used it as a way to discover more about humans. Humans did not think that animal suffering was a bad thing, so humans would perform mutations and surgeries on live animals while they were awake. Within the testing of animals, ruthless experiments take place. Some examples are denying the need of food and water, force feeding, causing pain, burning, and other wounds, and many more. There was no animal should be going through this. In 2020, over 300,000 organisms were having experiments done on them solely to induce pain. Living beings are killed or permanently damaged by experiments and will be kept in cages for the remainder of their life. Over 110 million animals are killed yearly due to experimentation and animal testing. Performing experiments like these are unethical and inhumane. With modern day technology, there are many other options. For example, testing products on human cells in a petri dish is a promising alternative. Humans and animal cells are similar but not identical. This option allows testing to be done on human cells and does not put anyone at risk from different reactions. Another option is bioprinting. A French company has a bioprinter in their hospital. This allows live tissue to be printed and transplanted into patients. It can also be used to make tissue to test on. The company has made a live liver that allows for drug testing. Lastly, there is artificial human skin. This is a fine layer of human skin cells that grows in test tube. This will provide more accurate and applicable results for scientists or companies rather than organisms' skin. The alternative options are so strong that by 2025, animal testing is expected to reduce by 30%. By 2035, it will be fully terminated. As for vaccines, which cannot be tested on in vivo human cells, there are thousands of human volunteers for every vaccine. A human is able to give legal consent. An example of not using animal testing for vaccine is COVID-19. The scientists went directly to humans instead of testing on animals first. It is not ethical to continue harming these beings with testing when we have many more other plausible and efficient options. Unfortunately, only 5% of animals that are being experimented on are protected by the Animal Welfare Act. This act was made by Lyndon B. Hayes to protect the creatures being experimented on in labs. It provides a minimum level of treatment for animals. This law only protects certain species, excluding rats, mice, fish, and birds. These species make up 95% of the animals being tested on. The U.S. Department of Agriculture inspects companies to make sure the owners are following the laws of the Animal Welfare Act, but it doesn't inspect the majority of the species being tested on. This leaves faunas vulnerable to the horrific experiments scientists perform on them. There are many cases of animals mutating themselves because of the amount of stress that humans are inflicting upon them. There are other cases of animals being conscious and aware during surgeries or experiments. The treatment that humans are giving these animals is terrible and hinders the lives of many. Animal testing has many other impacts as well. One major one is the environment. Every year, animal testing facilities produce a great deal of waste. The toxic remains must go somewhere, so companies put the waste into the environment. One business alone had 15 tons of animal testing waste in just 1 year. With time, the amount of waste being put into the environment starts to build. These toxic chemicals will contaminate the ground soil, and the soil will rise in many metals that have dangerous effects on humans. Once this process takes place, the runoff water will enter lakes and rivers. The runoff water contains these toxins. The chemicals will enter the drinking water and start to impact animals and humans. Another concern is air pollution. Sometimes businesses will burn the bodies of the animals along with supplies used to tend to the animals. Air pollution is a problem because of the gases the machines release to keep the incinerators hot, and the ashes of the animals, and more. The ashes of the animals are highly toxic, containing higher levels of dioxin, mercury, and lead. The ash from the facilities covers the soil and vegetation. animal testing has many bad effects on the environment. The animal testing waste that is put into the environment is unethical. The toxic waste with unknown chemicals is impacting all organisms. A study shows that 80% of rivers that have been tested on consist of at least one medical chemical. This makes a majority of the water contaminated and unsafe to drink. There are also concerns about the spreading of unwanted diseases. Oftentimes, the animals that are being tested on do not survive the experiments. Companies disregard the carcasses by throwing them into their surroundings. The bodies have the potential to contain deadly diseases, and if anyone comes into contact with these remainders, there is great risk to catch these diseases and spread them. The effects that testing has on the environment are substantial. The safety of all of humanity is being impacted because of animal testing and the damage that it causes to the environment. So, are the pros of animal testing worth all the cons?
Thunderous applause. Thunderous applause. How valid and reliable are the sources you used? How do you know? And which sources didn't work?
The majority of my sources are government provided or written by people that had sufficient schooling. Sources that were very old I tried to avoid because a lot of the points in my arguments required recent information.
Okay. What advice would you have for other researchers who are considering this topic?
One piece of advice I would have for those who choose this topic is to research very specific pieces of information when trying to form your argument. A lot of the information out there gives you broader sense of information. There are a lot of smaller parts to a broad topic, so narrowing down your search can be helpful. One example is researching how animal testing impacts the environment. You can narrow it down by researching how it impacts air pollution or water pollution.
Okay, thank you.